Corner fam, is your friendly neighborhood life coach, Cyan Gates. Welcome back to Shadow Corner, where we dive deep in self-care, mindfulness, and the journey of healing. Today, we're talking about a crucial yet often overlooked part of the journey, sleep. It's one of those things that either A is overlooked or B is one of those things that we don't look as the first priority. Since we're always in a go type of mentality, and knowing my millennial generation, we are like the go-getters. Not saying any other generation is, but like I know that if we wanted something, we went out to get it. Even that means being on hashtag team no sleep. So, but I have a guest here that's going to be talking about how important it is. We all know rest is important, but how often do we truly prioritize it? Sleep isn't just about recharging your body. It's a key player in mental clarity. So, emotional resilience, overall health, and it also helps us break down a lot of things mentally and subconsciously. I'm joined by an incredible guest who has dedicated his life to understanding and teaching the power of quality rest. Meet Tim. Tim is a man on a mission to transform lives and one of good night's sleep at a time, or in this case, one good night's sleep at a time. With over decades of experience in veteran recovery, mental health, and wellness research, Tim has worked tirelessly to help people unlock resilience clarity through the power of rest. And he's been involved in raising over 1 million for groundbreaking organizations like the Gallipoli Medical Research Foundation and the Queensland Brain Institute, pushing forward advancements in neuroscience and mental health. Tim isn't just a researcher or advocate. He's a true catalyst of change, and his work focuses on helping people harness the power of sleep, connection to fuel, healing, growth, fulfillment, you name it. He's your guy in it. Today, he's here to share insight, strategies, and some game-changing truths about how better rest can transform your life. So get ready to be enlightened by this conversation, because I feel like this is one of the things we don't think about when we talk about sleep or in the ends of shadow work. Because if you know anything about it, shadow work takes a lot out of you. And then sometimes you just need that rest. So without further ado, welcome, Tim. Hey, Tim, how you doing?
Well, really good. Greetings from down under.
Greetings from the south. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm probably further south than you in Australia.
Yes, because that's one
Not
of the things
it's a
that
competition. That's my natural competitive edge.
It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry. I bet you if you visit here, barbecue would probably be a little bit different. I guess.
I would love a barbecue with you guys.
Well, we got to pin that on a good day. But Tim, I know I've given like a brief of your essay. Can you tell people about what you do and describing yourself? What clients do you work with? Like, give us all the gist here.
Well, essentially, I am super passionate about giving people what I consider their birthright, and that is a good night's sleep. And, you know, for me, sleep is the soil from which everything grows, but it's unseen. And the world we live in right now, it's very visual. You know, you've got to see it. You've got to be able to show it off. It's got to be able to be seen by others. And unfortunately, the priority for sleep has just sort of fallen off the wayside. So it's been my goal to bring that not just to the surface, but to give people access to it. It's one thing to blah, blah, blah about this stuff, but then to give access. Like, my promise to people is you can have immediately improved sleep naturally tonight. And I'm a guy that lost 6 years of his life to pills when I told a GP that I couldn't sleep. He just threw a pharmacy at me. Now, my gateway into this understanding is I served in the Australian Special Forces, and in that space, we didn't know anything about the science of sleep, but we just knew that if we could deny our enemy 3 nights of sleep, it would mess them up better than a bullet. And then when I come home, there's so many veterans, so many people not sleeping well. It's like we've fought hard for this freedom, but we're not enjoying it. And I just noticed that if I could improve someone's sleep, again, easier said than done, but if I could improve their sleep, then everything would improve. And so, and I wasn't skilled in this. I just had lived experience. I went through my own PTSD. I went through my own, sleepless, restless nights, and I just had a heart for people. And I observed that, like I said, if you could go into those unseen places, which is often sleep, and improve it, then the tree gets stronger. They get the fruit and the life that they want. And so, as much as sleep needs to be prioritized, sleep isn't actually the goal here. The goal is having all those, dormant seeds of greatness that I see in everybody. It brings me so much joy to have people discovering all these incredible things inside of them as they improve their sleep. So yes, my passion's about sleep, but what really lights me up is seeing all these awesome things inside of people naturally flourishing when their sleep improves.
So when you talk about it being sleep something that we don't get, I mentioned before, like if you've ever been to New York, it's the city of no sleep.
Yep.
We've also become into this now day and age where sleep is an option rather than a priority. And I know many people struggle with sleep and they don't see it as a priority. Why is sleep so crucial for mental, emotional, and physical health?
Okay, well, let's talk about the thing that grabs most people's attention, and that's the dollar value. Okay, so here's a fun fact about what it is to not sleep properly. So if I was HR, I would throw the person's resume in the bin. They said they weren't sleeping properly, and here's why. Poor sleep employees take double the amount of sick days. Double the amount of sick days. And it's not just absenteeism, saying it's presenteeism. Being physically present but mentally unfocused can reduce output by 30%. So if you're looking at a cost in and also not just that, but there's workplace accidents are increased with sleep poor people. Simple car accidents happen as well. So if a worker earns $60,000 a year, lost productivity could cost their employer between $6 and $12 a year in reduced output. And if you're an entrepreneur, lost productivity could mean stunted growth, missed opportunities, delayed projects. And don't get me started on the emotional side of things. Sleep poor people, it heightens their irritability. It reduces their emotional resilience. And being tired reduces the kind of quality time you can spend. There's less engagement with partners, kids, and friends, and conflict escalation. That's a massive thing when you're sleep poor. People misinterpret your tired state and react negatively because you're reacting negatively.
Okay, do you see like an open door to more road rage if someone doesn't get any more sleep, or like they're more likely to pop? Okay, in South terms, pop off. That means they're more liable to lash out on other people than they usually would if they're like fully energized and everything.
Well, it's a natural thing when you have low energy or little energy. You only have a small amount of options. More energy equals more options. So I sort of tell people there are two completely different types of people in this world, and they're both you. There's the you that's well rested, can invest in yourself. You know how to create more, because energy is like money. How you invest it is how you get it back. And every dollar you invest in yourself, you get back tenfold. If you had a shares portfolio that if you put $10 in, you'd get $1,000 back from, well, you'd be like, yes, that's exactly what I want to be investing in. Our bodies are the same. They're predictable. And, there's the you that invests in themselves, has more energy, more options. Then there's the you that doesn't invest in themselves. They completely unaware of what food does because they're just running off, there's something. What ends up happening is people get so connected to what they want to do that they lose connection from their own body. And so forward progress to that goal means they've completely They're not paying any attention to what's going on in their body. So you can have all sorts of crazy stuff happening to your body. You can be sleep poor. Your relationships can be going to hell. It might be years since you've even laughed,
Not the go
or
though.
even stopped and looked at something beautiful. So sleep is one of those things that all your daytime imbalances tend to show up in. Like you can say, look, I'm killing it, everything's fine. But then at nighttime, there's a part of you saying, you're kidding nobody. You're out of balance. And so that again is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about sleep, because it's a real chance to get deep healing. Because another fun fact of data is sleep poor people have a 200 to 300% increase in mental health issues. 200 to 300% increased mental health issues. And I kind of think that in the right environment, anything grows, both good and bad. So we've all got stuff in our head, but if we create an environment that the bad stuff can grow, well, guess what's going to grow? And this is what poor sleep does. And I will say this, because this is where a lot of people get lost. This country was made great by people pushing themselves. There is a time and a place to go hard, burn the candle at both ends, sleep when you're dead. There is a time and a place, but that's usually about a season. Okay. And then you've got to start, instead of burning the candle at both ends, you put wax back on. So the way I describe performance minded people is think of your performance like a pyramid. The top of the pyramid, you're hitting your goals, hitting your targets, making bank, achieving what you want to achieve. And then the bottom of the pyramid is your rest, recovery, healing art forms. And people that master those healing art forms are the ones that have higher peaks for longer. If you do what most people do, power on, sleep when you're dead, you can still do that. But people start saying things like, oh, you're over the hill at 30. You're definitely over the hill at 40. Oh, forget about it when you're 50. Because that is true if you're not resting, recovering, recycling your energy. Okay, so what the other analogy I use is what would happen if you never charged your phone? It would run flat.
Yeah.
But as humans, what happens is, how your phone's got a power saver mode when it's only got 5% left? It shuts down a bunch of features and it just runs off minimal operating space. Okay, so that's what us humans are like. Once our energy drops, we shut down certain things. We don't fully function, but we tell ourselves we are functioning at 100%, because your 100% in a sleep deprived state is only 5%, and that's what you're struggling to achieve. So the only way to get out of that power saver mode is to look at a place where most people don't. But most people don't look there, because if you were to actually rest, recover, and quiet your mind, that's quite challenging, because most people haven't connected to their body. They use chasing, certain things outside of them as a way of distracting themselves from, connecting to their own body. And they don't even know they're doing it.
So I learned this from a relative of mine. They stated that it was like there is such thing as depression, and then there is this high functioning depression. High functioning depression is mostly when someone they know they're depressed, but they know that it's like they're not depressed enough to where they stop doing their regular stuff.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about like charging the battery, the first thing I thought of was like, oh, it's what I taught like in my last season, where I was like, sometimes you have to know which one are you? Are you an introvert, extrovert, or are you both? And then you also have to know what your social battery is, because a lot of people try to push it because there's like they don't want to be seen as like the person that can't hang or the person that has like FOMO. But you got to understand, like when it comes down to your social battery, when you're done, you're done. If so people feel some type of way, that is on them. That has nothing to do with you. You just know personally what you can tolerate in that moment, or at least to a certain point. I can tell you right now, I am the most extroverted person known to man. I'm willing to try something at least once. However, when my brain said, all right, we're done. There's just too many people in one day. I think we're good. And then I just flatlined. And then I have a friend that was like, girl, you was dead to the world for 24 hours. Like, yes, I had to get sleep.
I love
I
that.
had no choice.
Yeah.
I was like, as a phlebotomist, you see so many patients and you try your best to not only separate yourself, but you also have to separate the fact of it's not just a 9 to 5. Sometimes I have to work third shift from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I don't get that much sleep as it is until I actually get home. And then I also have to cook breakfast for my husband. I have to make sure that he doesn't forget anything, and then I can pass out. And then I have like my personal responsibilities. So it's like quality sleep does play a factor in all that. So it's like if they ask me why I go ghost for 24 hours, it's because I'm trying to make up the sleep in there. It's just like I feel like I look at it as a bank where it's like you only put in so many deposits before it goes negative, and you can't swipe that card so many times until your body's like, all right, since you're playing with me, knocks out in the middle of typing. I've been there. Oh my God. So, how does sleep or lack of affect the ability to process emotions and traumas? Because I know we talked about like how
Yeah.
you're more irritable, you're more susceptible to like lash out on people.
Yeah.
So like what is your brain's part in this? Because I know we did
Yeah. Yeah.
emotional, physical. Where does the brain, how bad does the brain for this? Because I've seen a study where it says about, I think it was like 53 to about 73% of people are more likely to get
Oh,
Alzheimer's or dementia because of the fact of lack of sleep
yep.
or because of
Oh, there is.
whatever.
It, when I say sleep is the soil from which everything grows, I actually mean that. Everything. Okay. So you're not just talking brain health, you're talking, diabetes, heart disease, depression, as we mentioned, chronic health issues. And forget about the health issues. Life kind of sucks when you're not well rested. You just get used to sort of having this idea. We tend to praise up the people that look at him. He's only done, had 4 hours sleep for the last 4 years and yay, yay, yay. So the way I explain it to people is I say, think of it a sports car that was made to race. Okay, it feels great to throttle up. Okay, that's our bodies. But imagine if that sports car could only, the person who driving the sports car only ever revved it, didn't have a brake, just revved it. You'd be very lucky not to have an accident. But if you never serviced it, if you never dropped the revs, then you would never actually have longevity with the vehicle. So when we drop the revs and we can let our body naturally restore itself, and our body will naturally do that once we drop what's called our cortisol levels. Cortisol is a stress hormone. It's not a bad thing. It helps you push on, get the job done, but too much of it for too long starts depreciating your system. Okay, you'll get too much for too long, get what's called adrenal fatigue, which is where your hormone levels get disintegrated because your body is cashing in its tomorrows to live today. But if you want to talk specific brain health, what happens is when you sleep, your spinal fluid actually goes up into your brain and basically cleans it out and gives your brain an opportunity to get rid of all the toxins. And they did a study on a group of students that had 6 hours sleep and a group that did 8 hours sleep. And what they found was they both kind of functioned, but the impact was on their short-term memory function. And memory is one of those things, if it slips through your head, you don't even know it's missing. And this is kind of scary, right? Like if you're getting, and it does, I have to say this, it's not the amount per se, it's the quality of sleep that makes the difference. And I don't want people getting overwhelmed here because I want to give people real access, like tools that you can literally use. So my humble brag is I can show you in 3 breaths how to completely relax your body. When I first met Sayan, we did it together. In fact, we did it with you and your partner. And when we spoke earlier today, I could see you're in a hurry. I said, no, we've got to stop and breathe. And you did that, and it looked like it worked for you.
Yes.
I can see
yeah, that's why I was like, my life is personally hectic. It's always been like that since I was 19. Not because like I don't get any sleep, because that sleep is the number one thing my bed is my side man. You might as well just go ahead and say that. And then my husband, he gets sleep, but being of ex-military, they sleep when they sleep. So it's like he still gets enough sleep, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes it's not enough for him. And then it becomes where sometimes if I tell him something, he'll forget it. Not intentionally, but because of the fact that he'd probably woke up in the middle of the night, didn't tell me, and then because he didn't want to wake me, and then he'll try to go right back to sleep, or he'll take a melatonin and then he's out for the count until the next morning. So I feel the difference when I do get a lot of sleep. I took, what was it, 20? Yep. I took a whole day to myself and I slept literally the whole day, on and off, on and off. And it's like my body is like, I'm used to just going everywhere. Why am I not going everywhere? This feels nice. I want to relax in, and I'm like, wait. Is it okay for me to relax in like this? I don't know. This is
Saying you just touched on something super powerful. Can I highlight that?
yes.
Okay, so your thoughts of I'm resting right now, but I should be doing something. That can be quite amplified in our world, because if I'm doing something and I get a sense of self-worth from that, and my self-worth is attached to something I do, then if I'm not doing that one thing, if I'm just doing nothing, then
Mm,
that's really hard for me. If I'm doing nothing, maybe I'm worth nothing. So, I mean, use the example of an athlete. They get their, positive affirmations and a sense of achievement, how fast they say run around a track. And if they're not running around the track, there's a part of them that says, oh, my sense of self-worth is attached to how fast I can run around that track. If I'm not running around that track and people aren't telling me I'm awesome and I'm doing nothing, then I'm worth nothing. I am nothing. And us humans, that's our kind of what we call our center of gravity, our sense of self-worth. And so resting, doing nothing, sleeping isn't hard mechanically to do. What's hard is if you tell yourself that I get a sense of well-being and self-worth from something I do, to stop doing that thing, it gives us this sense that, oh, maybe I'm nothing if I'm doing nothing. And the only way I could get around that, Cyan, was treating the days I did nothing, I called them bow days. So like bow and arrow. So
mm,
if you want to hit a target, and I love hitting targets, the arrow actually has to go away from the target to create momentum. So
right.
when I'm resting and doing nothing, I'm like, and my head goes, no, I want to do. I'm like, no, Tim, this is you creating momentum. Let yourself sit in this moment. And so on Sundays, I have what's called super slow Sundays, where if it takes me 5 seconds to walk across a room, I'll take 30 seconds. Try it. It's a free little thing and it'll blow your mind, because we're so used to going at a certain speed that we realize that we're thinking about the next thing to do and moving our body to that place. We're not actually in our bodies as we move. Okay. And so if you've ever
Mm,
had the experience of being with somebody and they're with you physically, but they're somewhere else mentally, we can be that to ourselves. We can always have our minds somewhere else and our body's still trying to catch up. And so one day a week for me, super slow Sunday, I will do everything super slow. If it takes me 2 minutes to cut up carrots, I'll take 10 minutes. And it does kind of blow your mind, but eventually your mind and body start connecting. And for the other 6 days, you've got so much more momentum to make the impact you want to impact. But and there was a time, like I said, I was in a pretty high tempo part of the military, and we worked hard. We cashed in our tomorrows to live today. And when I got out, I was in adrenal fatigue. I didn't know it, but they diagnosed it as PTSD. It wasn't PTSD, it was adrenal fatigue. And I took all sorts of pills, but it wasn't until I went to an endocrinologist and he explained it to me. He says, Tim, cortisol's good, but too much for too long will drive your hormones into the dirt. And us guys, if you ask us, is testosterone important? We'll say yes. But if you ask them, well, when's the last time you had a testosterone test? We'll go, never. So what this endocrinologist did was get me out of adrenal fatigue with the right sort of, supplementation and measurement. So what I'm trying to share here is I could have been locked into this state of fatigue my whole life. That grumpy middle-aged man that just becomes a grumpier old man. That could have been me. And it wasn't until I discovered the power of breath work to actually connect me back into my body in a gentle way. And in that, my peace became my power, because then my body could self-regenerate, heal itself, and I could, without bragging, I'm still throwing down with my 20-year-old son at the gym. I'm still, doing, wrestling classes with 20-year-olds, because I've managed the art form, and I'm over 50. I've managed the art form of the bottom of the pyramid activities: rest, recovery, healing, and then performing at the top. And as I age, I can still perform high, but I just need to widen the bottom. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And what was my brain going for? Okay, so I get that. That's why I try to take time out on Sundays and Mondays. I absolutely do nothing. And I try to make sure that I don't have anything scheduled. I don't have any recordings or anything. It's just me, myself for 2 whole days. And my husband was looking like, "You good? How was your day?" I was like, "It was good. I did nothing but play video games all day and just and sleep. That is it. And it's pretty much it." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Did you eat?" Well, see, I did, and then I didn't because I haven't got up for the second meal yet. So, but I try to preach that as well, like having me time. And again, like I said, I know that we're in a society right now where it's like hustle hard, sleep when you're dead type situation ends up being a thing, and we're built on that. But I always point to the North Star of when is it going to be enough for you to be able to take time for yourself? When is it going to be enough until you take time for yourself? Like when you get to the hospital or when you like face planted? Like I remember like my first couple of weeks in college and I was trying to keep up with my classmates. I ended up finding myself with my hands on my keyboard and my head cocked back because I was so tired because it's like it was an 8-page paper that was due in 2 days and I didn't want to look at it. So it's like me trying to stay up for an extra 4 hours to do that paper, make sure I turned it in early. That way I can have more time for me. It made me deprive myself of sleep because I think that I didn't wake up until like I got poked and he's like, "You slept here the whole time?" I was like, "I don't. Where am I?" He was like, "I took your
That's so
laptop, I
funny.
closed it." He's like, "I took your laptop, I closed it, I put it next to you, and I put a blanket on you because obviously you wouldn't go move. But now that you're up, let's go to the bed, Fluffy. It's okay." I was like, "Oh, it's 6 a.m. I need to go to bed again." But it made me think about like all the things that, as we're talking, it makes me think about all the times I like over pushed myself or didn't make time. So
Oh, it is a
here's
group hypnosis we're all in, because everyone's doing it. It seems normal.
because like my parents did it and they knew because my dad was a truck driver, but he was ex army. My mom, she was worked a regular 9 to 5, so it was like I could see her when she get home.
Yep.
But him, he would be up until 7 a.m. and then not come home until like maybe the next day
Yep.
or maybe like the next week because of whatever route that he had.
Yeah.
So my next question in this situation, speaking of that, what are some simple but effective ways people can improve their sleep, at least tonight or
Sure.
from this point forward?
Well,
I got him stumped, ladies and gentlemen.
no, I'm just trying to, how do I deliver the best value in this? Because right now I could literally, instead of talking about it, and obviously, we're enjoying this conversation and I'm sure people are enjoying listening to it. But if we are really wanting people to access power, we want them to have something for tonight. We want them to have it next week, in a year's time. So I went quiet there because I thought, well, how can I deliver something that they can access in a year's time? I know last time we spoke, I showed you about the breath, how to take those 3 breaths and completely relax everything. Is that something you
Right?
think would be a good thing to do now?
Yes,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Okay.
mind it.
Great. All right. Well, let's do this. So I'm gonna show you how to take 3 breaths, and we're going to completely relax our body. Now, the trick to this one is it's 3 proper breaths. And most people go their whole lives and they don't actually breathe properly. And it's surprising. I work with athletes. It's amazing how many athletes don't know how to breathe properly. So I'm gonna use all my breathwork super coach powers to make this easy and effortless for you. But because this is something new, I have to ask 3 questions of yourself and all those people listening. And this is on the back of making sure that we're in a safe environment. You don't want to be doing this driving your car, cutting up carrots. You want to be seated in a supportive chair, so you can really just give yourself to this process. And if you're not in a position, I recommend you just press pause and get yourself in a position where you can access this, because this could be a pivoting point in your life. I've showed this to a lot of veterans, a lot of people in need, and it's made a permanent impact. And I'm not saying this lightly. So, 3 questions I have to ask everybody is, do you give permission to your breath to completely nourish your physical body?
Yes.
Great. Do you give permission for your breath to completely nourish your conscious mind?
Yes.
Awesome. Doing really well. And the last one, do you allow and give complete permission for your breath to nourish your unconscious mind?
Absolutely not. No, I'm playing. Yes.
I love it. You got to keep your humor. And so now we're in this state ready to receive anything that you have as a to-do list. I just invite you to put it all in a pile, everything that you've got to do and all the things that are on your mind, put it in a pile about 1 meter away from you. Okay, so there's all stuff that you've got to do, put it in a pile, just dump it out. Picture it, all of the stuff that you're concerned about in a pile about 1 meter away. And
Okay.
once you see that, push that pile 10 meters away. Mentally push that pile. You can pick it up afterwards. It'll be there afterwards, but I'm just inviting you to push it 10 meters away. Now, does that making sense?
It does.
Okay. So now that everything that we're worried about, all the things that we have to do today, we can pick them up in a second. It's just 10 meters away. Now I invite you to push it 50 meters away, 50. When I say meters, probably yards in US terms. Now push it. Now push it a mile away. It'll come back to you whenever you want, but let's just push that pile of stuff 1 mile away. Once you've got that, great. Now we can connect into our bodies. Afterwards, we can pick that up. But for the minute, let's just connect to our bodies. Now, I'm going to get everyone just to breathe in and then breathe in again and again and again and again. In.
Okay.
Great. Now, did you notice when you breathed in again and again and again, you found that little sort of space up top opening up a bit more, the top third opening up more?
Yeah, it's like just a regular open space.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show you. I really enjoy doing what I do because I show people how amazing their body is. So most people don't know that in their 2 fingers and thumbs is a power button for your breath. And what I'm going to get you to do is we're going to blow it out. We're going to breathe in. But when it gets to this top third, we're going to pinch our fingers really hard like this. And that'll help boost that top third. So I invite everyone just to blow it out, shake it out, blow it out, shake it out, blow it out, shake it out, and then breathe in. When it gets to your secondary now, hit those power buttons and then wriggle it around a bit, and if it feels good, let it out with a sigh.
It gets old. I feel like just like shoulders.
Yep. All right.
Ooh.
Now, at this point, most people's teeth are showing because there's a certain joy in breathing properly. Who knew, right? This is the wondrousness that our lungs have for us. And you did really well then, because when you hit your power buttons, you sort of pulled your hands back and you raised your chin. And that's what we're going to do next. Okay. We're going to, as we hit these things, we're going to look up and lean back, raising up to hold it even more. And then we're going to hold it. We're going to wriggle it, open up that space. And if it feels good, let it out with a sigh. All right. So let's you ready for this? Blowing it out.
Yes.
Blow it out, shake it out. Blow it out, shake it out. Blow it out, shake it out. Out, 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 out. Once it goes out, go out some more. Then start breathing in through your nose. Hit those power buttons, raise that chin, look up, lean back, open, 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 hold it, wriggle it. Feel how wonderful it is to open up that chest. Open, open, open. And when you can't stop it, let out that wonderful sigh. So good. Yeah, you're really taking to this, Sayan. This is really good. You know when you're doing it right, when you've got a smile on your face and you can't stop it. Well done. So I call that the breath of possibility. Okay, so when I've got stuff that's impossible in my head, watch what happens to my structure. I hunch over. Oh, you've seen someone with the weight of the world on their shoulders? They're hunched over. They're literally looking at the grave. That's where they're headed. And you're not just pinching off your breath, you're pinching off your body's energy system. So one of the reasons you feel so good after that is that and not just from the oxygen, but our body runs off these electrical circuits that are like hose pipes. And if you pinch your garden hose, not a lot of water goes through. And if we're hunched over, we're pinching off the energy going through our system. So when we breathe properly and hold it for a second, we're creating space. We're taking our foot off the hose pipe and letting that energy flow the way it's supposed to go. Isn't that amazing? Aren't we made incredible? Now, if you just took this for the rest of your life, that would be permanent power. So these little buttons here, I travel around with them. This is my traveling medicine button. Okay, you ever been in a hospital where some people have that methadone button where they're in pain, they can hit a button? Well, in public, if something's, I'm human, if something's annoying me, if I'm waiting too long in a queue, I will discreetly hold it, wriggle it around, let it go through my system, and and that energy naturally goes to those places that I need to relax. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can sit with that. Okay, so as you kick around, if something feels impossible, make it possible with your breath of possibility. And we're going to do this one last time, but we're going to, if everyone sort of sees my nose, see I'm sort of wriggling it, kind of funny. Behind.
We see you. I don't know anybody in the audio that's going to be able to see you, but just remember that if you cannot, when you're listening through the audio podcast, just come back to the actual video and then
I'm wriggling my nose, yes.
Yes, that he's wriggling his nose.
Like a rabbit.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Let me see if I can make... Uh-oh. There he goes. He's gone. There we go. I'm trying to make you the center, my dear sir. Hold it. Other way. All right. Okay, I'm ready for you.
I'll do my rabbit. Did everyone get that?
Oh my goodness.
I've never done that before, by the way. That is a Shadow Corner special.
Hey, listen, we will take it.
Well, look, and here's what happens, okay? When you start breathing properly, people just start laughing. You literally do the things that you do if you drank alcohol. You laugh at stupid stuff, you connect, you got less inhibitions, okay? So people wonder why I do 2 hours of breath work a day. I'm like, it feels amazing. It makes me live longer, and you're kind of getting high for your own supply. There's no downside to this. So what I'm trying to get here with the rabbit, we got lost in the rabbit impersonation. You got to pay extra for
Oh my God.
From now on,
I love this.
Pay extra if you want the rabbits. Okay. So behind our noses, we have sinus cavities. Okay. And those sinus cavities are about the size of a walnut. And one thing my coach used to teach me when I was a professional fighter was that before you do a combination, do a rapid snort as rapidly as you can through your nose, because that would pull air over your sinuses straight into your brain, and you could be more mentally sharper. Now, whether that was based in science or not, I don't know, but what I do know is it worked in combat. So what we're going to do now is the same breath, but we're going to have our mouth closed, and we're going to double the speed of inhale. So try and snort it through your nose as much as possible. So when you hit the power buttons, you're really flaring those nostrils and trying to suck it through the back of your head, and notice the energetic interaction that happens. Cool.
Cool.
Okay,
All
so
right,
with your power buttons, just shake it out, blow it out, shake it out, blow it out, shake it out, blow it out, shake it out. Start breathing in, have your power buttons ready, quick, twice as fast. Hold it, wriggle it. Feel that energy naturally flowing through your system. Feel your chest opening like a flower. Feel the warm sun on that flower. And when it feels good and you can't stop it, let out a really big sigh. How did you go, Sayan? Did you get your sniff on?
I did, and I feel so much better. I feel like part of my brain just woke up. Oh god.
Oh yeah. So this is you are mechanically hacking your body right now. Okay, meditations is thoughts controlling thoughts. That's not always possible, at least in my experience. This is a mechanical override, and this is where those little pinch of the finger and snort through the nose like you're trying to. So if I get an intrusive thought, I'll sniff it out the way. Instead of trying to blow a fly off your food, you're sniffing a thought out of your head. Does that make sense?
It does.
You're sucking the air out through your brain to blow the flies off your brain. There you go. Go away, fly.
I'm here for it. So, the next thing I want to say is, are there any specific So, what routines or practice? I know we have our breathwork practice. So, outside of that, what are routines that we should adapt when we're starting with this? Because I was like, I know that this works because I've done it several times, and my brain automatically feels like the dust is cleared. And I know that for some people, the practice is one thing. So how do I incorporate this in my daily life? Yes. What maybe if I don't have 2 hours? What about
that? Is the key. That is the key. Okay. So if I believe in micro habits, the small things that are easy and effortless you do done regularly has an accumulation, has almost like a compound interest.
Right.
And most people are tired because they've already got enough on their plate. Okay. So the idea is to place these micro habits exactly when you need it. So I actually created a resource called Breathwork in Bed that you just tell it when you want to sleep, when you want to wake up, and it just falls out of your phone when you need it. You literally hit that notification and press play. And you only need, the tracks go for up to, 40, 50 minutes, but most people fall asleep in the first 5 minutes of breathing, because that's how rapidly our body responds to breathing. So that little breathwork exercise we did, you had a small little taste of it, and that's actually only half of it. That's the breath of possibility. I'll leave a little link that you can watch that'll turn that breath of possibility into the breath of peace. And that is super, super powerful. So I'll put a link in the show notes so you can turn the breath of possibility into the breath of peace, because your body responds really, really well to regular sleep times. So that's why we ask, when do you want to sleep? When do you want to wake up? So you can have that discipline of going to sleep regularly, waking up regularly, and exposing your whole system to this breath work, which literally kicks out your intrusive thoughts, alkalizes your neural pathways, and creates anti-inflammation through the body. And that is super powerful, because I'm a guy with chronic injuries, a lot of injuries post service in the Army. And I'm cautious when I say this, because I don't want anyone throwing out their pills straight away. But I was able to wean myself off all the drugs they gave me with breath work. So one of the reasons I do probably a little more breath work than most is that's me managing my injuries. So instead of being laid up 3 weeks out of 4 due to no cartilage in my lower back, I take the time to do breath work each day, because that then creates the anti-inflammation for me to function and have the lifestyle that I want. So regularity in your sleeping, and again, this is why I made breath work in bed. People are busy enough. So once you tell it, when you sleep, when you wake, we take care of the rest.
Okay, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that was going to be the next question. What are your thoughts on sleep aids like melatonin or natural stuff? Like, I like to drink tea at night. Usually, it's an herb called Melissa. It's used to help with focus, and it's also used with, like, for people that need some type of relaxation other than lavender or blue pea flower. Like, what do you think about those? I know you said medications,
Yeah.
you can wean off them slowly, but like tinctures for sleep aid or anything, melatonins, do you agree with those? Do you feel like they counteract your natural arcadian rhythm? Like, what is your opinion on that?
There's nothing wrong with them, but there's a bunch of other things that will create chemicals in your body naturally without expecting something outside of your body to do it. One of the most powerful things when it comes to sleep is light exposure. So the industrial age that we're living in, we've got, electrical lights that we can turn on. And if people ask me the number one thing you can do to improve your sleep, outside of breath work, is light exposure. So a lot of people don't know this. And you talked about your circadian rhythms. We've got a 1,000 different internal clocks. And if you've ever had the experience of trying to go to sleep, part of you wants to sleep and part of you still running around the place, your circadian rhythms are out. And those circadian rhythms sync up exactly when you look at the first light coming up over the horizon at sunrise. So that first light coming up over the horizons and that sequence of colors, that syncs up all your circadian rhythms. It sets up this cascade of chemical reactions through your brain. It gets rid of the melatonin, okay? And that sequence of colors is actually played in reverse at sunset. And it produces melatonin, produces all those, sleep chemicals that tells you, okay, time to go inside the cave. It's okay to be with my loved ones. I can go to sleep. So the way nature has light exposure, the colors of sunrise, the colors of sunset, we produce our own chemicals. And light on your skin, like naked light, not even through a window, but naked light on your skin, super, super powerful. So yes, you can play around with all these things, but if you can, and I'm very careful because like I said, most people are tired because they're already doing enough. So I'm very careful to sort of overburden people. But what I'm trying to start is a sense of, oh, that felt good. I'll have more, please. Something small. That felt good. I'll have more, please. So you might start with 5 or 10 minutes of breath work going to sleep. Oh, that felt really good. And my day's even better because I'm sleeping better. Well, I'll do breath work getting out of bed too. Oh, that felt good. And then these micro habits start stacking. And then they'll go, you know what? I might try breath work as the sun rises. So I'm sort of, I don't know what my neighbors think of me, but I'm up on my roof each morning, breathing as that sun comes up, so my eyes can see the first light, and my skin can absorb the energy that first light gives me. And I do the same at sunset. So there's nothing wrong with trying stuff, but just know it's free if you take the time to do it for yourself, if that makes sense.
It does. There is an app for anybody that's listening. His app is also on Apple and Google. So if you would
Oh
like it, I
yes.
can I'll link it in the show notes. But there's also another app called Finch. So Finch is something that a friend of mine got me to. Is basically you're taking care of a little penguin. Uh, they are whoever you want to name them, and they help you and trying to think about yourself and self-worth, and like it's basically, if you have a list of goals, the Finch will allow you to list these goals and check them off when you're first thing in the morning. So, and it also, when you open the app every day, it gives you quotes like this one for today. It says, I start every day with a clean slate. So, and then from down at the bottom, is sorry, it's very bright for you guys, but down at the bottom, it'll say rating like how you're feeling. So, after you've rated how you felt, there is a whole list that you can make for yourself on your to-do list, and every time you check one off, you get heart points. Now, I know there's a lot of people that probably doesn't want another to-do list, but this is something where you personally can use it as a tool for you to get your self-care stuff out of the way. And if you want to, they also have like little mini pets that you can earn. You can earn them by you doing all your daily goals. And then the more you earn, the sooner your egg hatches, and the sooner you'll have another mini pet. So that's something that you can contribute to as well. I know that I do it every day, check email, try to take time to breathe. These are things that I do personally every day. So what Tim is saying is true. You really need to prioritize your sleep, prioritize exactly your day and how you're going to run it, but make sure that rest and recovery is the main goal at the end of the day. So if someone is listening right now and is struggling with burnout or trauma or emotional exhaustion, what would be the first step you would recommend to them? But I know we breathing, like breath work, but what is the first step when they're trying to go down this path of resetting? Because it's probably something that you'll have to get more adjusted to, because again, we're in a fast-paced lifestyle. So it's not like we can automatically turn it off. So what would be your first step?
And one feeds the other. The more sleep deprived you are, the more cortisol you have, the more you hold that in your system, and it becomes normal. And it almost becomes part of your identity. Like, I've been this way for so long, it's kind of who I am. So to give that part of you up that is always sees yourself, if you're an athlete, always running around the track, then who the hell am I if I'm not running around the track? And you're so unfamiliar with that part of you. You've only ever known the person that's at the top of the pyramid.
Right.
And if you, and at the top of the pyramid, people often look at those people who are at the bottom of the pyramid and go, look at those lazy people. All they do is sit around and relax. They're not doing anything. And then the people at the bottom, very different personality type, they go, look at those guys at the top. They're working so hard, they're not even enjoying what they have. Okay. So giving yourself permission to almost be a different person. So remember that little thing I said, put all your stuff in a pile, move it 5 meters away, 10 meters away. That was just allowing you to almost be a different person, because the amount of stuff that we can carry often defines us as person. Like, oh, I'm so busy, I've got so much on, or a guy, especially how much shit I can handle without flinching, how much I can destroy myself I wear it like a badge of honor. So there are many mechanical things I could say you could do, but underneath all of it is there's a part of you that you've been ignoring for so long, that to really get to know all of you means putting down for a second the things that you thought made you important. So I could say, go see an endocrinologist, get your hormones balanced, reduce your cortisol, get your hormones balanced, get a script for this or that. But if you're in the mind frame that my self-worth is attached to how fast I do a certain thing, or how much I achieve, or how much I earn, or the car, or this or that, it's a matter of time before you return to burnout. If I could speak to people in that place, make sleep your new performance standard, and try it for like a month and notice the impact of it. All of a sudden, you're achieving all these things that you were trying so hard for. And if like I said, if someone, the biggest shifts I've found I mean, like I said, I've mentioned breath work and I've got online tools for that. But that sunrise and sunset, you will find the biggest shifts, and it's an accumulative thing. Seeing those sequence of colors when you wake up, and right now in Australia, in Queensland, we don't have daylight saving, so I have to get up sometimes at 4:30 a.m. to see the sunrise. And the days are longer. It's like 14-hour days, and I work more while there's more daylight. But then in the wintertime, I'll deliberately work less. Okay, but we seem to think that we can break the natural cycle of work-rest ratio and have no consequence. When I was out of balance, I just didn't know why at the end of the day I had to drink so much beer before I could speak to my then wife. So you just have to understand, if you're not taking time to rest, and you're going to have time to burn out. And most people, like myself, don't come to this conclusion until they've completely reached rock bottom. So you could ignore what we're saying right now, but just remember it. So when the time comes, you'll have options ready to access. Otherwise, the other option is just becoming an angry, jaded person that always sees the problem in everything because they're trying to conserve energy. I hope that answers the question, Sayan.
It does, because it's great to. This is why I wanted to bring people on in the second season, because I wanted my community to understand that the stuff that I am talking about, it's been proven. And it's also been stated in most of, because we talked about burnout. It was during the time that I was at a burnout, because I was at the peak of building my business. I bought an office. I was able to like work consciously. But my problem is that by me working school, building my business and everything else, it cost me a lot of time with people and time with friends. It also cost me time with myself, sometimes with my significant other, but he knew why. Even though he knew why I was pushing so hard, because I was trying to get out of the 9 to 5, because as most of my friends know, I'm a free spirit. I don't like to be held down. I don't like to have to. I understand, like, you have to answer to someone.
Yeah.
I should only.
You like to create your own structure,
Yeah, I like to create
not
my own
not be
structure,
a part of someone else's structure. Yeah.
and I have a little bit of ADHD, so it's like I can't just be doing the same thing all the time. So it's
Yep.
like when I was building my business, that's when it became okay. So a lot of things are being affected now. It's not just my personal relationships; it's also my relationship with myself, which also comes with the last question I have for you. And this is the question I ask all my guests. If you could tell your younger self, no matter what age, no matter what number or whatever, anything, what would you tell them? What would you say to them? It doesn't matter what age or time period. I had one guest, she said she would talk to her 60-year-old self and say, yeah, no, we're not talking to these people. They let us go like burn out, and we didn't have anything. And I thought that was very powerful, because it was an acknowledgement to see where you went, what direction you took, and how you could have did it better. So that is my last question to you before we close out today.
Great question. I love it. If I was to speak to my younger self, I would say this: you're an energetic and driven person, but don't drive out of your fear of lack. Don't try to achieve because you feel like you have nothing, or you're trying to avoid something. Go towards that which lights you truly up, and nothing else matters. Once you're 100% connected to that, all the things that you've ever been wanting will come to you.
That's very powerful. Can you tell everyone how to reach you, how they can
Yeah, sure.
connect with you and everything?
Very, very easy. 3 words, breath work, 1 word, in bed. You can literally put that into your phone in your app store right now, and you will get a good night's sleep tonight. And we're giving away 28 days of free breath work, so it won't cost you anything. I mean, how much would you pay for a good night's sleep? But the first 28 days, free. We're giving that away, breathwork in bed. If you just search up breathwork in bed on the socials, you'll find me. Obviously, we've got a website, and I will include those links in the show notes. I'll also encourage everybody, I'll give the first 20 clicks, I'll give my audiobook away. And I'll include a little video for that breath of peace, which goes into the breath of possibility. So if you like that breath of possibility, you're going to love the breath of peace. My gift to you.
Thank you so much, Tim, for stopping by. We really appreciate it. We've learned a lot today, and we will be seeing you soon at another time, right?
I can't wait to do my mouth impression again.
I can't wait either. It's going to be awesome because I'm putting you. I'm processing in my brain where we're going to go ahead and do another episode, but we will see you another time. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
All right, everybody. So as we wrap up this lovely Shadow Corner episode, I hope you got a deeper insight on what sleep is. Like I said in the episode and before season, burnout was an understatement of what I was. And I knew that I had to do something not only for myself but others, because it affected everything around me. You may feel like you're able to balance this big plate with a lot of things, possibilities, goals, and everything else. But at some point in time, something's going to fall off the plate to be added to someone else's. So in order to be your best and be able to strive for what you want, you're going to have to start looking at the smaller things as priorities. That means sometimes getting more sleep than the most person. Even if you have people in your ear that says, hey, you're sleeping too much, maybe you need to get out and do something. Sometimes that 24 hours does work because, your girl came back ready to conquer the world in all its glory. So I hope that by you actually listening to Tim and doing his exercises, that you're able to, I'm trying to get the right words, that you're able to apply them, be able to walk out and be the best you, and then most importantly, that you're able to continue to be awesome like you are. No one should ever ask you to change, but you should want to change for yourself. So without further ado, we are out of here, and I will see you on the next episode. See you next time.